Hi, I'm Joe and welcome to the channel. I do appreciate you taking the time to stop by and watch these videos. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing down below. This series of videos we're taking a look at different genres of music, and in this case here we're taking a look at funk. What I'm going to do is break down the guitar parts that you just heard in the beginning track, and hopefully they'll inspire you to come up with your own ideas. Let's go ahead and break this one down. So this song has more of an 80s funk vibe to it. There's a drum machine happening in the backing track. And if we listen to it, basically it's only one chord. It's basically playing off a B-flat 7 chord. Well, how do we know that? Well, if we listen to what the bass is playing, it's basically playing B-flat, and they're going down to the flat 7, A-flat, in its riff. Basically what that means is then, if we play that as a chord, B-flat and A-flat, we get a B-flat 7. So the first guitar part is going to play a fragment of a B-flat 7 dominant chord. Now how do we find that? Well, if you know your D and you know how to make a D7, if you slide the shape all the way up the neck, you would have a B-flat 7 sitting right here. Again, if we played a B-flat using our D shape, we have our root, our third, and our fifth happening in this chord here. Well, we're going to take the root and make it a flat 7. So we're going to go down to A flat here, and we'll leave the other two notes alone. And that gives us a B flat 7. Now, a very common move in funk is not to play full chords like this. Generally, guitar players are usually playing just one or two notes to keep something funky. The bass is happening, playing the root, so you don't need to cover that bass. And basically what's nice to do generally is to outline the chord by just playing the flat 7 and the third. The flat 7 and the third are very strong tones inside of any chord. It really dictates what flavor the chord is. So if you as a guitar player just want to play that, that'll outline the harmonic content for that chord. So another thing that's happening too is, if you roll off your tone a little bit on your guitar and roll your volume down, you get more of a duller sound, and that really just helps it sit in the mix a little bit better. And another trick that you might want to use is, instead of using the tip of your pick, it could be a little bright that way. If you flip your pick around and use the tail of the end, or the butt end of the pick, and actually stroke more of an angle towards your body, basically bending the thumb back, that almost acts like a little EQ pedal as well for you. Just basically turning your pick from the point. See, that's brighter than if I flip the pick around and I attack on a different angle. And basically that's the whole part that this thing is doing. It's just laying down a basic funk chord, and what you'll notice later on to build intensity in the song, it's playing at every measure. In the beginning, it just basically plays a measure, stops, plays another measure, and then stops. But as the song progresses, we pick it up and play every measure. And basically that's how the song ends. So that's the first guitar part. Now the second guitar part is basically playing the bass line, just an octave higher than what the bass is playing. There's actually two bass tracks in this. One's one octave, one's another octave, and now you're laying the guitar on top of that as another octave. And all you're going to do is play off of the B flat and the A, just like copying exactly what the bass is playing. And that's the whole entire second guitar part. It just lays a little bit to add a little more texture to the bass line. The third guitar part is playing basically an arpeggiated part, which basically means you're just going to play individual notes of a chord. And again, it's outlining this B flat 7, rolling the tone back on your guitar, and you'll just start basically with the flat 7, and end on the B flat, which is obviously the root of the chord. And And that's a little bit of an ear candy part. Basically, the first guitar part goes, and then right before the band comes in, it basically plays this little riff. Later on in the song, you do hear the same part tucked in a little bit behind in the mix. The fourth guitar part, again, is playing off of the B-flat 7 chord. And that's what the fun thing is about funk. It's all based around usually a 1-chord vamp. And what you have to do is find your own little spaces, so you have to be creative when you come up with these guitar parts. So all this is doing is, again, playing off of this shape. And if you think about it, we're actually playing the B-flat pentatonic scale, but in box 2. And I'm basically saying this area here of the second box. And what I'm doing is playing the root, flat 7, and then I'm going to tweak the third and bend it up. And that's the first half of that part. The next half is doing the same thing, and I'm going to slide down and bend at the same time. Well, why am I doing that? Well, here's your B-flat chord, your B-flat 7, and what we're doing is we're again playing off of the flat 3, but I'm bending it up to imply the major third. And I'm kind of bringing the F note with it. So again, the part goes like this. So you can see the same technique is applied where you're tweaking that third a little bit. It's the flat 3 implying the major third of the B-flat 7. And it's a really fun part to play because you can slur that down. So a couple of takeaways for you on this. When you're playing this style of music, you're basically dancing around a 16th note grid. And what you want to do is all your guitar parts, you kind of want to play around that grid and land and start on different areas of the beats. If you listen closely to the track, you'll notice not all of the guitar parts are starting on the 1 or the downbeat. So maybe go back and download these practice tracks from my site and listen to each individual guitar line to see exactly where they're falling on top of the beat. Also, as usual, you can use these practice tracks for your own practice, obviously, so you can learn these parts and then come up with your own parts. I'm really hoping that these guitar parts will inspire you to come up with your own lines. Now remember, you can always download these practice tracks for free from my website, and not only do you get a full version, but you also just get the bass and drums. Well, what does that help you with? Well, you can be creative and start coming up with your own guitar parts with the basic foundation and the rhythm section already there for you. That's another video down for this series. If you found any value in whatsoever, please consider supporting the channel for free by subscribing down below, hit the like button, and knock on the bell and you'll be notified when the next video comes out in this series. As always, I wish you a great day.